Welcome back, guys. It's Star Series 11 and the second to last day of group stage play. Vici Gaming up against IG. We've got 4 best of ones coming your way this evening here on Starladder_EN, and I'm Basskip here providing coverage on behalf of Beyond the Summit. Great to be joining all of you guys for this match. Unfortunately, a little bit of a delayed start. The reason for that being that unfortunately the admin for China was having some connection problems and therefore wasn't able to host the game. We had to get one of the other admins from a different region in, but then there was some server complications. We're finally all here. The game is finally underway. And we can get ourselves going with this match. As you can see, the draft has already progressed a little bit, so very quickly running it through. We've got Invictus Gaming banning out a Lycan and a Deathprof. A little bit worried about that Vici Gaming potential push. And Vici are going to be getting rid of a Brewmaster and a Batrider, leading us into an Elder Titan pickup, a hero that I was talking about yesterday while casting the Chinese group stages as something that's been trending really heavily, really hot in the Western scene at the moment, particularly during the Summit 2. Haven't really been seeing it in the East just yet, but I think if any team is going to bring it over here, it's definitely going to be Vici Gaming. So looking forward to seeing how they do. Going to combo it up with a Dazzle as well, get that minus armor going along with the Natural Order, and definitely nice to have, and a great hero to have against the Ember Spirit in general. In terms of other things to talk about at the moment, we can talk about overall standings. It's an 8-team group, but only 4 will advance to the best of 3 double elimination portion at the end of bracket play. So we've got Vici Gaming currently top dogs 4-1, looking very good to secure themselves one of those top 4 spots. And Invictus Gaming, after a little bit of a slow start, 0-2, now find themselves with a 1-2 overall record, having taken their final game of the day yesterday against... I'm going to have to look this one up now. Their final game of the day against Immortal Magneto yesterday. So we've only got 2 days left, so only 8 matches remaining, but IG still have 4 to play, including this one. So we'll be seeing plenty of them over the coming days. And we'll see if this team can finally start to find a little bit of its form. I think they've been struggling a bit, in particular, as some people have noted. Burning is standing in for Chuan, who's going to be heading to Seattle for the Red Bull LAN. That's coming up, I believe, on the 13th. So Burning is standing in for him for the remainder of group stage play at the very least for Starladder. I don't know if he's going to be back for playoffs. I'm not 100% sure on that, though. That information is probably around the place. So delving a little bit deeper into our draft, Invictus Gaming have picked up an Ogre Magi and an Ember Spirit. So Ember still pretty popular at the moment. I think we saw at least 2 games yesterday of the Ember being picked up. We've got Sand King and Morphling bands coming out, interestingly enough. Not 100% sure what's motivating the Morphling ban out right now, but the big problem with Vici Gaming is that they just run everything. They kind of pick whatever and make it work. And it's probably a little bit incorrect to say whatever, because the drafts are always cohesive and there's always a good overall plan there, but in terms of what to expect, it can be very difficult to tell. So we'll see what they're looking towards this game. There's still an Invoker in the pool, for example, but Vici Gaming going to be picking themselves up a Zeus. Tons and tons of damage, I think, is the only way to describe this here at the moment, and adding Natural Order on top of that is going to make even heroes like Ogre flinch a little bit when those lightning bolts start flying out. So tons of damage for Vici. Dazzle doesn't really provide any mobility to help get the Zeus around, but the survivability from Grave and Heal is definitely going to be nice to help him output his damage. And Vici Gaming, phase 2 bans is going to be the Tidehunter and the Skywrath Mage removed from the pool. So, actually just nothing too surprising there. Invictus Gaming do throw a little bit of a curveball, picking up the Phoenix. Not particularly targeted at anything. We did see Vici Gaming picking a little bit of this hero over the course of their Summit 2 run, so going to show that Broodmother and Phoenix are now starting to see a little bit of competitive play. I don't think this is necessarily the most amazing lineup for Phoenix to be up against. Normally you want him against melee right-clickers, where the full benefit of the spirits come through, or where it's difficult to get out of the way of the beam or getting close enough to do stuff about the egg. But Vici Gaming do pick up the Phantom Assassin now, so should hopefully be able to get a little bit of work done there. Not sure if we're going to be seeing an offlane Phoenix or a support Phoenix, or heck, I don't know where this hero is going to be laned in the competitive scene. We barely see any of him in pubs anyway, but IG do end up grabbing the clockwork, so looking like it is likely going to be support this game, and probably just looking for a one position to round out the lineup. Again, can't emphasize enough how important this game is for IG. It's looking like the gateway for the group stage to be top 4 is likely going to be 4 wins. Vici already have 4 wins. cdec have finished their run. They're at 4-3. LGD 3-0. Very likely that they'll win at least one of their 4 remaining matches. HET 3-3. You know, reasonable chance that they win their final game. So yeah, this is definitely a very important one for IG. A little bit less so for Vici, but I think if they notch themselves a win here, then they are pretty much just cruising for the rest of the group stage, which is actually going to conclude for them tonight. We've got IG versus Vici Gaming coming up right now, and that'll be followed by Vici Gaming versus LGD. So Vici Gaming coming back just in time to finish up their Starladder run. Meanwhile, not really sure what to make of the Clockwork pick. He is fantastic to have against Phantom Assassin if you can get up your early levels. If you can get up your early Blade Mail, can definitely put a lot of pressure on the hero, but outside of that, I guess also quite nice to have against the Zeus and the Dazzle. Latch onto them, force them into buying 4 stabs to try and get people out of the cogs, and can buy a pretty good assortment of items to help out this game. Blade Mail, of course, for 1. Pipe, not too shabby, though can be a little bit difficult to farm, but it gives IG some mid-game presence and some good early-game ganking. At the moment, they don't really have a ton of late-game. It looks like they're more trying to exploit the mid-game strength of the Ember Spirit than anything, and that's really where Ferrari shines on the hero, setting up those kills, getting the Side of Fist chains combos off, and we'll see what they can do here. They are a little bit light on tower damage, as Ember Spirit lineups do tend to be. So we'll see if maybe this final hero pickup for them can help deal with that a little bit. Vici Gaming not looking too flash on tower damage either, so it could be a very fight-heavy game here. But I think you have to, at least so far from the draft, favor Vici if this starts going in towards the late game. Phantom Assassin has the potential to just blow anybody up, especially if that natural order is on top of them. Dazzle scales pretty nicely, and as does Zeus. But Vici just dig deep, eat up the last couple seconds of their reserve time. Are just going to come back with a Lifestealer ban. Centaur is the choice from IG, which I find somewhat interesting. I don't think Vici have been running a ton of support ET. Some teams have been in the West, and I would say notably Secret have been doing it from time to time, but I think most of the time that we see the Elder Titan on Vici Gaming, it's in the hands of Ice. So we'll see what this final support pickup is going to end up being. It could, of course, be a support Zeus, something like that. Also has been run in recent memory, so Vici Gaming just gonna go for a Broodmother. So we get Brood and Phoenix in the same game. IG not that well equipped to deal with it, though we did see an Ember Spirit versus Broodmother game over the course of the Summit too, and the Ember Spirit actually ended up doing pretty reasonably for himself. The only obstacle, and especially that the casters were talking about in that game, was Ember Spirit getting up to his level 6 so that he can just constantly go back and forth, refill his bottle, use the remnants, keep on spamming out the shield, and it seemed like in that game he did pretty well. But Ice is definitely a premier Broodmother player at the moment, and looking forward to seeing him back on the hero. I'm also now dreading the fact that we've got 2 heroes that I haven't played or casted in a very long time, because I'm not actually 100% on all of these ability names, or at least I might not be in a team fight. But I don't know how many spin webs we'll have cast right in the middle of some action. So hopefully I'll be okay on that. Just give myself a quick refresher course right now. So IG, what can they do? They probably don't have the late game. They don't have a whole lot of tower damage. They've got okay AoE to help clear out the Broodmother, but ganking her could perhaps be a little bit difficult. And with only 20 seconds remaining, they're gonna have to come up with something. I don't know what they're gonna come up with here. They've been picking Enchantress and Chen in the last spot for Luo for the last couple of in their 2 games yesterday, but I don't think that fits even remotely here. So Let's see what Luo's got. Okay, just gonna end up being the Necrophos. It's gonna have to be a pretty tanky Necrophos this game. He's sitting up on the front lines against a lot of burst damage. Does help clear out the Spiderlings a little bit perhaps. Also helps out a little bit against the Phantom Assassin, at least before she gets BKB. So I think a pretty solid pick on the whole here, but I'm personally liking Vici Gaming's lineup just that little bit more. And not just because it's Vici Gaming, but I think they've got something. I think they're onto something here, so we'll see how it goes. Just waiting on the last couple of hero pickups so we can jump ourselves into this game. And it looks like it's actually going to end up being burning on the Necrophos. Taking some time to perhaps discuss what the early movements are going to be with this team, where they're going to prioritize moving to try and prevent wards, if they're going to be moving down aggressively to try and ward anything up. So taking full advantage of all of that time and now jumping themselves in. So it's my pleasure to welcome you guys to the second last day of group stage play for Star Series 11. First game of tonight, Vici Gaming versus IG. And over on Vici, we have Black on Phantom Assassin. Fenrir is going to be handling Elder Titan, Super on Zeus, FY on Dazzle, and finally Ice Ice Ice, the Spider himself, over on the Broodmother. Meanwhile, on IG, we have the stand-in Burning on the Necrophos. We've got Chizbug on Ogre. We've got Ferrari on his signature Ember Spirit heading towards mid. We've got C or Luo on the Phoenix. And finally, we have June on the off-lane Clockwork. Ice 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 already making his way up towards top lane. Going to start establishing some webs and keeping an eye out for any early wards up here. FY also just hanging around. He's got some sentries. And if they spot anything too interesting, then he may pass one of those sentries over to Ice 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 just so he can get some D-wards done. But for now, we've actually just got the very slow Spider driving the Necrophos back to the tower. So I don't know quite how this tri-lane is going to deal with the Brood. Do they have any sentries? They do, in fact, over on the Ogre, so that's going to help out at least a little bit. Ice 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 coming in for some more value auto attacks. Burning doesn't have a heck of a lot of regen to work with here. So every little bit of harassment definitely counts for quite a bit. Zerminate Runes coming up. FY grabs the regen, Black grabs the bounties, so already off to a good start here for Vici. Mid lane matchup's going to end up being Zeus against the Ember Spirit. Definitely some kill potential, I think, for the Ember here. Anticipating some pretty early points in Flame Guard, which the Zeus can deal with fairly easily so long as he maintains his mana. Super does lose out a little bit on the block, however, so nicely done by Ferrari there. And in terms of early wards, just the one Dire Ward, not blocking at anything, just keeping an eye on things here for June. Sentry already placed down. I don't think this was spotted, so Ice Ice Ice. He's going to realize pretty quickly what's going on, but at least for now, things going okay. Chizbug coming in with the stun. Ice Ice Ice. Did the dive actually connect from Luo? It did not, so no slow. No damage over time, and definitely no kill there either. Burning already getting harassed pretty low. Do they even have a flask in this lane? They do in fact have at least one. Super copping some pretty big harassment on mid lane. Creep Wave pushes in along with the Searing Chains, and that actually drops him very low. I think he's got his bottle already on its way out, so yeah, he's going to be fine, but probably not an ideal start for him, though his CS is looking fantastic. 8-1 against the 3-0 of Ferrari right now. June is getting quite a bit of space to work with down on this bottom lane, especially since it's just a support Elder Titan. And Fenrir is just sitting here running pulls and pull-throughs, so spoke about it in the draft that if the Clockwork can get his early levels and get his Blade Mail up pretty quickly, then he can be a pain in the butt for the Phantom Assassin, and well, looking like that could be the case here. Burning cops some more harassment. Chizbug doesn't care too much about the auto attacks, but still needs to get back to his teammates right now. And Ice 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 is gonna give him a few slaps just to send him that way. But in general, I mean, when are we expecting to see any kind of movement? FY is probably pretty happy to stay up here with Ice Ice Ice, at least for the time being. Fenrir is not really interested in ganking anywhere just yet, so Vici lane's looking pretty static. And until IG gets some more levels up on Burning, they're probably not going to be leaving him to 1v1 the Broodmother for a little while. Also, Phoenix just not really a very impressive ganking support at all, so we'll see what Luo ends up getting done this game. Meanwhile, Ferrari also getting his bottle out and delivered on this middle lane. We've got some extra sentry wards picked up by Lua, ready for top. He's also picked up a dust, but all of his efforts being handled very nicely by FY. Holding on to a skill point at the moment as well, ready to skill up the grave if need be, if there's an aggressive move, or ready to skill the poison touch if they need some counter initiation. So, or if they need some initiation or chase. Yeah, meanwhile, in middle lane, Spirit actually coming out from Fenrir. He's got the early point in the stop, goes for it there, but Ferrari actually cancels it out, making use of the Sleight of Fist Searing Chain. So it cost him a little bit of mana, but definitely saved him some health there. Fenrir just scooting by with the haste. And I don't know what happened to... Okay, that's where IG's other Observer Ward is. The only vision that they have on the map right now is over here. They have no rune information, and that could prove to be particularly troublesome when you've got a hero like Zeus and a potentially very underleveled tri-lane up on top. If Zeus gets a clutch 4 or 6 minute haste rune out, he could very quickly make his way top and find a triple kill. So that's something that IG are going to have to be a little bit aware of. FY looking for the heal bomb on the spiders. It's only going to find Chizbug. Still very tanky. Burning coming through here. Gets off one more death pulse. Ice dusted up. It looks like Burning might be the first one to fall. Beam coming out of Luo, but ends up being sidestepped. No kill just yet. FY still going toe to toe. Didn't have that point in grave. They're trying to get the spiderlings around, and there's the heal. Ice gets first blood. And the rest of the IG tri-lane sent packing. Burning gonna have to take a trip back to the well. Super getting chased down here by Ferrari. There's a clutch heal. Can they get this return kill? One more auto attack from FY, just enough to secure that one there. Very fast level 5 up for him. And in the meantime, Ice just establishing himself further and further up on this top lane. So overall exchange, definitely Vici favored with a 2-for-1. Along with securing that first blood, and this top lane is only... This top lane just got very difficult. You've got a level 5 Dazzle, an almost level 5 Broodmother, and all of their heroes are, yeah, level 3, level 2, and level 3. Not the best situation to be in. Fortunately, June has managed to secure himself level 5, almost level 6, so hopefully he can start moving around and putting some pressure perhaps on the Zeus, but... yeah, for now, top lane's pretty much completely sacked. Chizbug, realizing that there's nothing that he can really do, is going to try and come in here mid, but Ferrari misses slinging out the Searing Chains. So, no kill, and, well, now that they've seen the Ogre on mid, that's going to open things up here for a big heal combo onto the Spiderlings. Burning gets brought down immediately. Luo might be next. Dives away up into the trees, but Ice and FY still giving pursuit. And Ice looking to block off the other exit. Luo's now trapped in, throwing out some spirits. Out comes the heal and the nuke. Another easy kill for Ice, and IG just absolutely no answer whatsoever to this dual lane. And, well, teams are really going to have to start either thinking about and planning for this Ice Broodmother, or... I don't know. Super gets stunned up on mid lane, but Ferrari's on low HP and he's making his way all the way back to the well. So no kill to be found there. Meanwhile, 6-minute rune is going to end up being a bounty on the top side. June snags himself that haste down on bottom. Can he find this kill on Fenrir? Might be able to walk straight up into the battery assault cogs. Is it a rank 3 battery? It is indeed. Even has the hook shot ready, but there's no chance he needs to use it. Nice easy solo pickup there for June. At the same time, tier 1 tower top lane does end up going down, and Black is continuing to find some good farm on bot. Top lane just being completely abandoned. Burning's all the way down bot. There is no one anywhere in the vicinity up here, so Ice now has complete control of the dire jungle. FY is getting handed the lane so that he can grab some more great farm, and yeah, the wheels have definitely fallen off for IG here in the early game. And it's up to Ferrari and June to see if they can pull it back. The tri-lane doesn't really have any way to recover itself. Burning in a little bit of trouble down here on bot. Some crits coming out of Black. They land the stomp. In comes the next blink strike along with the dagger. Gets the heal off, trying to escape, but one auto attack seals the deal. Chizbug TPing in a little bit late, attempting the counter gank. We do have June making his way in with the haste rune as well. Wants this kill on Black. He's going to look for the blink strike back, but still on cooldown for now and will be brought down in exchange. So Clockwork making some early moves and finding some early kills for his team. Meanwhile, Ice, what's over on that courier right now? Just going to be a Midas coming out for him in quick order. Far and away the net worth leader for now. And meanwhile, Super just chilling out on mid. Keep an eye on Ferrari with this ward down here. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you guys about what IG can do here. They just have to gank with the Clockwork and the Ember Spirit. I think that's pretty much it. Again, they don't have the best looking late game. Chizbug already in some trouble down bot. Heal Bomb comes in from FY. It's not even a medallion pickup to lower the Ogre's armor. That's just the weave coming in. Ice actually taking a little vacation away from top lane. Is going to make his way down to the top burn. Checks out some harassment on Ferrari. Meanwhile, June gonna snag that regen down bot. Hookshot coming up in about 3 seconds time, so we'll be looking for another kill before too long. Chizbug grabbing some more levels bot, just crests level 5, and Fenrir, well, still just pulling and stacking away in the Radiant jungle. Grabbing some more farm for himself. Burning all the way up in the lane right now. Another Spiderling heal bomb on the way. Doesn't get too much damage out. Gonna run right off the web as quickly as he can. He's got a TP scroll, but I don't think he makes it out of here. And one more nuke from FY seals the deal. That's just weird. He's out in the middle of nowhere. He has a TP, but there's no supports backing him up. And just ends up being a complete freebie for Vici Gaming. Meanwhile, June still scouting out on this middle lane, drops another hook, but it's on Fenrir. Not having the best of games so far, but definitely better him than the Zeus at this stage. So June picks up that killing spree, but the threats have still not really been answered on Vici. Black, what's the build going to be for him? Hasn't shown us any obvious clues just yet, so we'll keep an eye on what he's up to over the coming minutes. Ferrari going to get that bubble popped very quickly on mid. And Chizbug's still wandering around without boots. So despite getting some levels, still not looking all that great. Luo doing a tiny bit better, but a group of Spiderlings is going to force him back. As Burden grabs a bit more farm into the tower. And once again, FY going to be joining his buddy Ice as they continue to just romp their way through the IG jungle, the IG heroes, the IG towers. Really whatever they want at the moment, it's theirs. Ferrari going to come up and try and do something about Ice. Spiderling is actually going straight onto the Phoenix. I think he's going to be okay for now, but I think the same story is true for Ice. FY and Super in the neighborhood. Invis rune picked up for the Zeus. Out comes the ultimate. That's actually enough to kill the Phoenix as he goes down to the spiders. And the Thunder God's Wrath. Oh boy. Poor Luo. Meanwhile, everybody on IG has come to try and gank the Broodmother, and Black is just getting absolute free farm on bottom lane. Hookshot wildly off the mark there from June. Spiders also coming in. Super getting some value. D-wards off. We need some damage coming out. Where's that grave? FY unable to get in range. Nicely blocked there by June with the cogs. Ice going in on top of burning the heals. Keeping him alive for now. Ice getting burned down. In comes the Ember nuke as well. But he's out of range of the anti-invis. FY now trying to make the great escape. He's got another heal, trying to get to the creep wave before he uses it. Get some value damage out onto Ferrari, but will still be brought down. Searing Chains comes up, and IG finally rewarded for their persistence up on the top lane. Luo gets jumped on bot, does have a dive to get himself back, but well, it's just going to be a fountain trip for him. Fortunately, does now have his supernova, but I don't know how much he can do. Especially with only a rank 1 ult as we start to get towards 12 minutes into the game. So Black gonna pick up the free tower, Burning looking for the deny, but no such luck. Just getting some value tank items for the moment, some power treads picked up for him. Taking a look at our overall graphs, it's a 5k net worth lead and a 2k experience lead in favor of Vici Gaming right now. We've got a nice Spiderling heal bomb coming up for Ferrari before too long. Actually, where's the Dazzle? Dazzle's still all the way down in the river. Ferrari is suspicious, but gets surrounded now, throws the remnant across. We're gonna jump in from June. He's actually managed to find FY. Grave goes out. Can this get the Broodmother in range to do anything? Ferrari just gonna get out of there, gonna leave June to try and finish the kill, but he doesn't have it in him. The Spiderling soaked the battery assault damage. Now he's on the run. Luo comes in, they drop a multicast. Supernova coming out as well. Super now isolated, just doing as much damage as he can before he goes down. Ferrari darts out to the side. Not going to be brought down by Ice, but it is a double kill for Chizbug after all is said and done. So the Ogre, who only just barely picked up his boots, is going to be pushed a nice ways along to either some arcanes or a soul ring or whatever he's going for this game. And black, what's the build, buddy? Okay, looks like it's just gonna be a Battle Fury potentially for him. Ice working towards an Orchid, always gonna be very nice to have against the Ember Spirit and the Necro. And Ferrari still leading the way for his team right now in terms of farm, a long way away from completing his Battle Fury. So we'll keep an eye on him, but they probably need some more ganks to come in if they have any hope here. Got just the one ward over by the Roshan pit. They've got no control over their own jungle. They're getting completely outstripped in terms of farm and kind of keep having to give away these free tier 1 towers whenever Vici come knocking. June still trying to be a thorn in black's side. Gonna make his way down towards bottom lane where Burning is already waiting. Gonna try and jam this hookshot if he possibly can. Ice actually making a pretty big rotation over towards mid lane at the same time. Looks like he's not gonna get this courier, but he might get a couple of kills. Chizbug already getting nuked. The weave along with the heal. Way too easy for Ice. TP's coming in here from Ferrari. What can he find? They've actually got to jump in from June. Lands the hookshot. Pops off the dust. They manage to bring down the spider. FY and Super now in some trouble again. Dumping as much damage as they possibly can. But FY survives with the heal. He gets off the grave. And Burning is brought down. It's a posthumous double kill for Ice. The spider's going to work a little bit further down. June also nukes down. And that ends up being a 3-for-1 for Vici Gaming. We'll be looking for this tier 1 tower in just a moment's notice. And Ferrari sent packing back to the well along with Luo. Do have a respawn up out of Chizbug, but nothing that he can really do to defend this tier 1. The value glyph comes out. But I don't think Vici Gaming back off here, do they? Super coming in, clearing the wave out a little bit. They do have the present threat of the Ember Spirit making his way in. Drops the Searing Chains combo. Got the stomp coming out. In comes the Supernova, but I think Vici Gaming might just be able to focus this one down. Denied, not even successful from IG as the tower falls to the Radiant. Black still alive. FY ends up graving himself, somewhat interestingly, but looks like Black will be just fine. And 2 kills and a tower for Vici Gaming as IG try and defend, but come up empty-handed. June trying to get around from the side here. Another kill, and he is going to have his Blade Mail. Ferrari comes in, tries to drop the combo on Fenrir, but still looking pretty healthy. Burning now saunters in from the middle of this. Earth Splitter's coming out. Is it going to connect? Don't even need it. Black finishes the kill with a few simple auto attacks. And now June poked his head around the corner, but he's going to scurry back up onto this cliff. And what can he actually do? Drops the cogs on Black. A little bit of value harassment. In the meantime, Dire tier 2 on top side has been dropped down by Ice. And his Orchid is all but completed, so yeah, Vici Gaming are crushing this one. 10k net worth, 7.5k experience. Black's almost got his Battle Fury. Items just keep flowing in. Heck, Fenrir almost has a mech for the team right now. Super just grabbing that fast force staff. Makes a lot of sense, of course, against the Clockwork this game. And yeah, IG still just kind of sitting around scratching their heads, wondering what they can do. All the plays are in Vici's hands right now, unfortunately. June grabs a little bit of value farm, does manage to get up to his Blade Mail, but starting to feel like it might be a little bit of too little too late. Chizbug gets scouted out off to the side. We've got the Spirit along with the Weave going to work. The Ogre's tanky, but he's not tanky enough. Super grabs that kill. Black looking for an escape, jumps back to his teammate. Super ready in the wings for him there, but looks like Super now in some trouble as Ferrari jumps in. The Supernova buying some space. It's a 1-for-1 so far. We've got a Reaper Scythe coming out of Burning. It's the first fight for IG as they start to claw their way back in. Fenrir making his way back to the tower. Does have some stick charges, but it's not enough. Combo coming out of Ferrari. Finishes off that kill. FY has nestled himself all the way into these trees, choosing not to TP out just yet. Ice, meanwhile, just doing Broodmother things up on top lane and get some damage out on the tier 3, reminding IG that wasn't really a full 5-on-5 engagement. As FY just pops out of the trees, drops a weave on Burning, says, "Get out of here, this is my lane," and goes back to farming. So, actually not a bad fight for IG after all is said and done. Get a little bit of net worth, getting some experience back in their hands. Burning still completely struggling on farm. Bottom 4 net worth right now. The tri lane just got absolutely decimated by the dual lane, and it looks like Burning is maybe just farming up a straight BKB this game. I don't even know if that that saves him here. Sure, you get rid of the magical burst and the silence, but there's still black to worry about. And he's a very farmed Phantom Assassin at the moment. IG, they still know exactly what they need to do. They gotta keep ganking. They have to get this Ember Spirit and the Clockwork involved, all the while hopefully holding off the Broodmother's advances on top lane. But Ferrari once again leading the team over into the Radiant jungle. Not gonna make their way south. I think they just spotted some heroes out. June needs to not get blocked here as they round the corner. FY with the immediate grave, multicast coming in, buys himself a few seconds. IG just leaving him and looking for any further kills that they can find, but Vici Gaming have already scattered to the wind. And black, as exactly as I say, oh man, I don't know if BKB is gonna keep you alive here. Ends up grabbing the Ghost Scepter, so there you go. Ice comes in. More harassment out onto Luo. We've got the ultimate as well from the Zeus, not synchronizing that nicely with the Soulburn damage, however. Now Ice is actually being jumped. Out comes the Reaper Scythe. All of IG emerge out of nowhere and do manage to kill off the split pushing spider. So how much gold did they get from that? 1200 experience. Okay, this is including the... oh no, it's not including the dazzle kill. So 1200 experience and 900 gold just from that. Brennan gonna be very happy with the new influx of money there. Meanwhile, what are Vici waiting for? Fenrir, does he have the mech coming out? No, not just yet. Still needs to grab a little bit more farm for himself. And is there anything else that's really pressing? Looks like Super probably working on a Yule Scepter. Ferrari, after a couple of those kills, has almost got his Battle Fury up, so he's going to be ready to deal with the Broodmother split push by himself before too long. Does, of course, have to be a little bit careful of the Orchid, but I'm sure he knows what he's doing. And IG will continue to hold the line. Tier 2 still up on bottom lane, Tier 2 still up on mid, and starting to make more and more dent in this Vici Gaming net worth and experience lead. It looks like FY is actually working towards a second Orchid for his team here, but farm has slowed down substantially for him. Vici Gaming end up going for a smoke. I think that may have been just over here. So not going to choose to make their way up that blind hill, and actually just going to wait for IG to turn up here on mid lane. There is a double damage in Ferrari's bottle. Not sure if Vici are aware of that one, but definitely something to keep in mind as we move towards this next fight. And Ice actually once again taking a break from pushing in top lane, gonna show up mid with the rest of his team. And looks like Vici Gaming are actually trying to lay a little bit of a trap. Not sure how successful it'll be, however. If you're IG, it's really suspicious that everybody disappears bottom lane, and then all of a sudden Broodmother is sitting here on mid, especially if they spotted heroes on that fading Observer Ward. So just gonna keep playing things defensively. Chisbug clasping his Sentry Ward and his Dust of Appearance tightly as Ice comes right in underneath the tower. Does need to be a bit careful not to get hit by anything, honestly. Can't afford to have that pathing disabled. Meanwhile, June kind of reveals his position with that rocket from the side, so it looks like Ice is going to poke his head up here and say hello. Dust gets popped off, Spiders get split up by the Ignite. Value Rocket Flare as well, going to clean out Ice's babies. And meanwhile, Black just changing roles with Ice. He's going to be handling top lane and the Dire Jungle farm, while Ice keeps on pushing in here mid. And looks like Vici are actually calling it quits, at least for now, as Super is also going to reveal himself on bottom lane. So if IG can find somebody now, this is their best opportunity, since they know that Super has just gone bot, and they also have a ward up here, keeping an eye on Black. So if they can find an initiation, it's actually going to be a 3v5 here on middle lane. And FY actually in a very aggressive position, a little bit further over. Ice gets trapped up on some trees, getting the silence over onto Luo. Can the Soulburn along with the Spiderling nuke be enough? Nope. Once again, living by the skin of his teeth. So, it's like Vici content to just continue poking and prodding, and doing whatever it takes to slowly siege their way in through these tier 2s.
There it goes.
And Ice actually just gonna go straight in for a BKB, it looks like. So always nice, of course, to have against the Necrophos, and does suggest that, I don't know, Vici Probably just looking to hit a timing and maybe hit a timing with double BKB and look to really secure this game. They've also got both PA and Broodmother, who are pretty capable at taking down Roshan, so if we see a couple of successful engagements from them, that could definitely be on the cards. We've got that mech now up for Fenrir. It took him a little while. He had the components for it, I would say, 5 or 8 minutes ago, but wasn't quite able to complete it. And the map all of a sudden goes very dark for IG as Super just keeps wandering around and spamming out some bolts. Only the one ward up here on the top side. And next wards for them, actually in stock. Are there any on Chizbug? Yes, there are. So they can actually reestablish a little bit of control before too long. Burning, gonna be grabbing himself that Aghanim Scepter. Ice, caught out, stunned up, dusted. Looks like it will be one more death for him as Ferrari adds a mega kill streak to the tally. Super now trying to escape, Searing Chains off cooldown. Just gonna go for the TP out off to the side. Nicely played there. Will not be brought down. Meanwhile, Black hoarding some gold up on top lane. 4.2k in the bank. And Super not going for the Yules. Not going for the mobility, just some more zaps. Go along with the Elder Titan. He's picked up a Dagon. IG going for a tier 1, but tier 1 for tier 3 trade. Definitely not what they were bargaining for here. So mass DPs start making their way back. Spirit scouting things out a little bit, but Burning at the ready to repel the push. June looking for a hookshot, but not going to be able to find anything. And Ferrari does manage to finish off the tier 1 tower down bot, despite not getting the last hit. Fairly minor thing overall. Chizbug actually also managed to sneak over here and place down a ward that may be Super's death right now. He's got a Force Staff, but no TP. Chizbug comes in, drops the multi, no mercy whatsoever from Ogre. And Ferrari notches another one on his belt. Unstoppable streak picked up. Hookshot now looking for Ice on mid. Ends up being blocked up by the Spiderlings, and he's going to be able to skitter away to safety. But this IG just moving as a 5-man group, and it's working. Net worth is stabilized a little bit at about an 8k lead. Experience continues to droop down towards the Dire, 2.5k. Less than that, the lead for the Radiant right now. And meanwhile, Black, what's the item? So he's picked up the BKB. BKB for Ice is still a little ways away, but assuming that he doesn't die, should be able to farm that up in a minute or two. And from there, hopefully we'll see Vici Gaming exploiting some of these shiny new teamfight item pickups that they've been able to grab for themselves. Mech and double BKB definitely going to help out quite a bit. Meanwhile, FY looks like still dedicated to trying to finish up this second Orchid, which is definitely going to be a nuisance for IG. And well, IG once again looking to try and get some value smokes out, but this time around is going to be spotted out by a Radiant Observer. FY should have seen this, but it's going to end up being scouted and straight up hookshot. He doesn't have a Force Staff, will be able to Grave, but no chance of these TPing out against the Battery Assault. So another freebie picked up for IG there, and the split Vici Gaming now starting to get punished little by little. Ice probably a bit frustrated that the other two cores have turned up on his lane to steal a little bit of farm, but looks like it is going to transition into a push. And Ferrari just working on a Manta Style right now to help deal with these mass orchids that are making their way out. So as expected, Vici Gaming now swing over to Roche with this influx of gold. Ice can get pretty close to his BKB. If they're trying to be really sneaky about things, they might back up and give him the last hit, just so he gets that little bit extra and gets sped along to his BKB that little bit more quickly, but probably won't be able to now that we've got IG heroes in the vicinity. Super getting multicasted, the Reaper Sight gets dropped, but it doesn't kill him. He manages to get the ultimate off Burning, gets bursted down, the Spider Nuke comes out as well. Phoenix in a good position with the Supernova up on the high ground, looked for the stun on Black, but he blinks away onto Chizbug just in time. Fenrir now trying to make his escape, the mech's already been used, he's going to end up going down. The Blade Mail from June doing good damage. FY won't be able to get anything else off. Black graved, but they will manage to burn the Aegis. Ice. Just sitting over in the web, gonna try and help out here as much as he possibly can, but Black popped the BKB earlier over in the pit, and that means he's not gonna be able to get out of here. IG with a fantastic punish for that Roshan. End up getting a 4-for-1 exchange with the Aegis taken down as well, and I actually want to look at that teamfight recap one more time. So 6k experience for IG, 2.4k gold, and they got so much damage done. Honestly, I mean, look at this clockwork. That blade mail absolutely went nuts. 2.6k damage just over the course of that fight. Very nicely done. So we'll give the graphs a second to update, but they start to tell a pretty dangerous story. Net worth slipping away for Vici. Experience now down in dire territory for the first time in 28 minutes. So IG definitely making some headway here. That's going to be the Manta style as well, completed for Ferrari, so much less vulnerable to these orchids, of which FY still hasn't even completed his. Fenrir going to grab a little bit more value farms. Super. I wonder how he's feeling about the Dagon at this stage, and Ice, he's got his BKB. This is hopefully for IG, hopefully for Vici Gaming, the timing where they can start pressuring in and muscling down these tier 2 towers, but with Ferrari heading the defense for IG, this could be a little bit tough, and Necrophos just gets more and more bonkers as we get towards the later stages of the game. Potential double Reaper Scythe just wipes out Vici if they don't manage to lock him down. And also, I mean, if you were looking at the map just a few minutes ago, Vici had everywhere covered. They could see all of the dire jungle. They had wards scouting out down the bottom lane. But very quickly, things have started to go a little bit dark. Ferrari versus Ice down here on bot. Ultimate's gonna get popped off. There's the silence, but the immediate Manta style. But nothing to kill off Ice here, so he's just gonna go and get some more value split push. And meanwhile, Ferrari joining up with June, along with Chizbug, making their way into this dire jungle. FY still desperately trying to finish up this Orchid, but not able to make it there quite yet. And Ice, he's been spotted, he's been dusted, he's gonna pop his BKB and try and TP out, and looks like that's actually gonna get him out of here. It is still a pretty expensive charge to be using at this stage, but definitely better than going down one more time to Ferrari and June. And I feel like I was doubting IG. I was saying, look, June and Ferrari, they got to step it up. They got to start making the plays. They have to make space for Burning to grab farm, but they have definitely done that. The map's dark enough that we've got a scouting ultimate coming out as well as a jump onto Luo top lane. I'm not going to go down there. Meanwhile, over at mid, first silence coming out on Ferrari, still just hanging on to his Manta style for the time being. Realizing he's not actually in too much danger, but a Dagon 2 up for super. Definitely going to be a valuable tool and hopefully dealing with this Necro, but with the Blink Dagger now up on Burning, finding him might be just that little bit more difficult. Oh my god, Ferrari, you can't be doing that when you've got Weave. I think Dazzle just did 870 damage with one nuke. What? So I think they got Weave on him when he was over here, and then they just dropped a bunch of Spiderlings and nuked him in the face. Okay. Well, there you go. 40-second window of opportunity for Vici Gaming. Let's see what they can do with it. Everyone else on IG just kind of like, what just happened? Everybody very quickly defend mid lane. Let's go, 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 go. Another Weave coming out of Dazzle. Burning, getting ticked down little by little. Won't be able to fight while this is active. Ice, meanwhile handling bottom. Got a Basher up for the Phantom Assassin, and Vici now re-establishing a little bit more map control as Super makes his way over onto that dire side. So things are a little bit dark for both teams right now, though Vici do have this high ground ward. And Vici somewhat greedily going for both towers at the same time at the moment. Ice pulls IG over towards bottom lane. As the push continues on mid, Spirit gonna come out, do a little bit of scouting, look for that stomp. We'll see if we can get some buggy stomp abuse. But no, just a clean tier 2 tower taken. Black gonna back off and continue farming up, probably working towards Abyssal Blade before too long. Fenrir just has a gem chilling out over in the courier, freshly purchased, so we'll probably see that making its way out into the hands of one of Vici Gaming's cores before too long. And IG just now completely giving away this tier 2. They were so bold before and going for the smokes and going for the pickoffs, but now that Vici have grouped up with those BKBs, They're actually thinking twice. Where's Ferrari? Pretty up close to the tower. He does have his remnant sitting behind. Ready to go. Looks like crit is going to be next on the agenda for him. And IG need to get a little bit of split push going if they want to force Vici Gaming away from this bottom lane. I don't think Vici go high ground here, but I don't know if IG necessarily want to fight this one either. Ferrari trying to come in from the side, drops a combo onto Ice Ice Ice. Dire's courier is going to end up going down. In the meantime, Super hasting through. Ferrari and June split off from the team fight. Now going for him over here. Meanwhile, under the tier 2 tower, the fight continues, but we'll keep our eyes on Super for the time being. Can he actually burst down Ferrari? No. Sleight of Fist slices through and finishes him off. The distraction does prove to be enough for the rest of Vici Gaming to grab this tower down on the bottom lane as my FPS starts to tank, it looks like. What's going on here? Yeah, I think it'll be okay. This is definitely not right, but anyway. Moving on. We've got Yule Scepter being worked towards by Fenrir. Black, again, still just farming that Abyssal Blade. We've actually got, we've got a gem of IG, well, IG's own gem over on Ferrari right now. Does manage to land the combo onto FY. Chizbug coming in, looking for the stun. Silence does end up coming out. The Dazzle's finally got that Orchid completed, along with the Yule Scepter. Ferrari getting ticked down little by that weave. Burning jumps in, looking for an aggressive Reaper Scythe. It's going to drop it now onto FY, but he Yules us out of it at the final second. FY making the plays, and Black finishes up the kill on the Necrophos. Burning just getting completely schooled there. And Ferrari now in a little bit of trouble. He's weaved down low and will be forced to jump back defensively. Does he have any remnants left? The answer is actually no. Drops out a very long Sleight of Fist. And does actually have one remnant waiting up on the high ground. Ice 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 continues the pursuit. His Orchid cooling down in just a second. Nice Manta style dodge there on the spawn Spiderlings. Ferrari very wisely realizing that the Zeus ultimate is still online and can't afford to take any additional damage as he makes his way back to the fountain. So, definitely a worthwhile trade overall for Vici as IG go for a somewhat questionable dive. Taking a look at the net worth, we've now rocketed back up to a 10k lead in Vici's favor, and we're closing our way towards 0 on the experience line. In terms of levels, we've still got a couple of level 16s coming up. Super actually surprisingly underleveled given his position in this game, but he has tanked a bunch of deaths for the team, and could have another one coming up before too long. Force Staff out, but Ferrari's tracked him down. Another multicast from Chizbug. He knows how to get them, and that is going to be Ferrari building up his streak once again after that somewhat embarrassing death on mid, up to a killing spree for the time being. Meanwhile, Ice 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 prodding and poking away on middle lane. June up to level 16, has his Aghanim Scepter. Still fairly relevant at this stage of the game, though things are definitely passing over to the Necrophos and the Ember Spirit as we drag on a little bit later. Ice 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 almost has his AC complete. And that Abyssal Blade is very, very close here for the Phantom Assassin. Ice 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 actually coming in and once again silencing up Luo. Sends the Spiderlings his way. We've got a 10-second Zeus respawn coming in as well. So just hoping to combo him down if they can, but the awkward back and forth will continue. Both teams only have vision really on this eastern side of the map, so a little bit blind for now. Black actually jumping in aggressively, using the Abyssal Blade onto Ferrari. Won't find the kill, nor will the ultimate. Luo actually healing him up with the beam, but Ogre, no such luck. Ice 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 also swooping in from the side, drops the nuke on the Ogre, brings him down. And the low HP Ferrari is going to have to limp his way back to the fountain. Black looking for another Blink Strike onto Burning, but won't be able to find the range here. And with 2 easy pickoffs, Vici Gaming will continue to march their way forward towards this tier 3 on the middle lane. There is a glyph available for IG. Burning, tanking up a little bit more with the plate mail, but what dire buybacks do we have? It's just the Ember Spirit for the time being. And Black showing that he has no intention of leaving just yet. Ferrari going to do his best to clean things out, but there's actually a creep wave coming right on in. Yules up into the air, and lots of bursts just trying to force this Ember Spirit back to the well. Meanwhile, Ice 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 dealing with bottom lane. Luo will do his best to clear things out, but Ferrari actually ends up being brought down a little bit further into the base. Super gets the nukes down, and Burning now in some trouble. We've got the immediate buyback out of the Ember, but still no catch for IG. Black does get hooked, well, does get jumped there by the searing chains, but hookshot's still on the sidelines for a couple of seconds. And looks like Vici grouping up as a team to try and get down this middle lane of racks. If they can kill Ferrari again, that's pretty much game over. The Orchids have cooled down already. They've still got their BKBs in hand and the Abyssal Blade ready for the Phantom Assassin. Actually, a big hook gonna come in from June, finds FY, gonna pop the Blade Mail and try and retreat. He's isolated super. How much damage can they do? He does manage to drop the ultimate Supernova used off to the side, but Ice focusing away with the help of his BKB burning, waiting out this BKB to drop the ultimate, but in comes the Shallow Grave from FY. Great positioning there. Ice now healing back up, courtesy of his ultimate. They've got the silence onto burning. He wants one more Death Pulse to finish this kill. Won't need it. Still running out for now. The Urn Charge. Holding off his BKB, Black jumps in aggressively, but the crit kills himself on the Blade Mail from 600 range. Fenrir gonna have to call it quits, but the multicast comes out of the clutch from Chizbug and picks up the double kill. Vici Gaming get team wiped, and what looked like a very bold hookshot from the Clockwork pays off entirely as IG wipe the floor with Vici Gaming. 8.3k experience gain and 2.5k gold. Going their way for a 3.2k swing. IG will once again hold the line. Mid lane of racks is still up. Ferrari, somewhat fortunately, going to get his very long death timer out of the way now while not too much is happening. Roshan is still up, though Vici are only going to have about a 10-second window to try and get over there and do anything. So looks like that is going to be that, and we will have a lull after the storm that was that last team fight. It looks like Burning even might grab himself a value tier 1 tower on mid. There is a glyph, so he has some trepidations about all of this. And yeah, looks like it is actually going to end up being denied. So, well, looks like the dream is certainly not dead for IG. They're still down very heavily on golden experience, but they found the team fights. And all of this is without really getting off a good Reaper scythe in the last two engagements. They dove and they tried the Reapers on mid, but that didn't work because of the Yules. And then they also tried the Reapers, the Broodmother just over here, but as we all saw, super clutch Shallow Graves out of FY, putting an end to that one. So. And the value double damage for Vici Gaming. Everything going their way. Black's gonna come in, snag that one in his bottle, learning some lessons from Eternal Envy. As IG also come across to try and defend on this Roshan. Ice here, there, and everywhere as he scouts it over the cliffs. Chizbug gonna drop an observer and try and get eyes on what's going on here. June, Rocket Flare, cooling down for 3 seconds. Won't be able to scout. Vici playing this very conservatively. Everybody else outside of the pit. Fenrir gonna keep on scouting out with the spirits as IG refusing to engage for the time being. We've got the Supernova coming in, trying to buy some time, burning up on the high ground, drops the Shivas, but we've actually got a snatch of the Aegis from Ice, the last hit going the way of IG, but Ferrari's already down, in June somehow finds his way up onto the high ground, but Ice gives chase over the webs. Black now actually getting Reaper Scythe by burning, does end up being dropped. He's down for 113 seconds, but the Zeus is going to work. Out comes the ultimate. Burning trying to make his retreat a little bit further down. FY will be looking for that Yules, but the blink away from the Necrophos keeps him alive. And Vici Gaming get out of there with only a death on the Phantom Assassin, and they've got the Aegis over in the inventory of their Broodmother. I don't know what happened to Ferrari, but he got blown off the face of the map very, very quickly. I don't know if he jumped in to try and steal the Aegis, and then he got crit cleaved by the PA, or whatever happened. It was definitely not pleasant. And now Ice straight up onto the mid lane, looking for this ranged barracks. Lua and Burning, along with Chizbug, gonna do their best to hold the line here, but it's a very tanky Broodmother coming straight in, and with the Spirit and the Orchid on top of Burning, I think he is guaranteed dead. He's gonna tick down. Does he have a buyback? He does not. It's only Chizbug on the IG side, ready to make his way back into this game. We've got the Yule Scepter up onto the Ogre, Stomp coming in as well. As the Spiderlings are going to be the only ones making their way across. Vici staying objective focused, will clean up that mid lane and back themselves out. They're going to be back before too long with an Aegis on the Broodmother and a Phantom Assassin ready to go. So Vici, couple of sketchy team fights here and there, but now pulling things together where it's important and continuing to hold on to this lead the entire time as well. Ice Ice Ice, no big surprise for his Broodmother at this stage, still far and away the net worth leader, and showing that a hero that a lot of people peg as, you know, as almost exclusively a split pusher can definitely show up to these fights with the new web changes. I think that's the really big thing that's been helping him out. Also, he's reestablished all of his webs over to the east here to try and help protect Roshan and take the more important fights. If everything, all of his infrastructure is set up on top lane, when the most important objective in the game is pretty much Roshan, then you know, he's not really doing something right. So, good forward planning out of Ice Ice Ice.
Incoming.
And well, there's 3 heroes down here, but shows no fear. Does maybe need to be a little bit careful. Hookshot coming in out of June. Ice 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 gets stunned up on the cliff. Now in some danger. June with the 4-staff cogs actually pulls him down onto the low ground. The rest of Vici Gaming trying to make their way over as quickly as they possibly can. Ice 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 with the BKB, just trying to get the free walking activated again. He's still got that Aegis. The rest of the team is on their way. The weave now starting to tick up, and IG trying to find their escape. Burning's got the blink. Luo does get 4-staffed by his teammate up onto the high ground. Good coordination out of them, but Ice 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 is returned with a vengeance. Does get stunned up. The Grave comes out perhaps a little bit early. They won't have it ready to block the Reaper Scythe now. FY being isolated, tries to drop a heal, but the Supernova stun comes in. Fenrir will be the target of the Scythe, gets dropped. 90 seconds dead with no buyback. Vici Gaming not done just yet. Black jumps in aggressively. They manage to burn down Ferrari with the Abyssal Blade into the Dagon. Defensive blink away now as Ice 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 re-engages with a second ultimate for this team fight, working away at Burning, but there's too much chain stun. Black jumps in, but it's once again the blade mail from June that proves to be his undoing. Super's not done. The last man alive will look for some additional kills, drops one more Dagon, picks up the double, but it ends up being a 5-2 wipe in IG's favor as Ice 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 is caught out over by the pit. And well, the game plan for Vici will once again go a little bit off the rails, and I missed the fight recap. My bad, guys. But we can just look at the graphs in a second. So yeah, net worth swinging down by about 4,500. Experience, similar story, about 2.5k there. Ice 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 just gonna pick up some boots of travel for himself, and IG just kind of reconciling in base, trying to grab some items here and there. We've got a gem, well, double gem for IG now. They're gonna drop the second one off over in the well. And June just continuing to make plays left, right, and center. Clockwork, not normally considered a hero that scales too well into the, into the later portions of the game, but this blade mail has been doing work all game long. And now he's got himself a Shivas to show for it. 14, 5, and 13 the scoreline for him this game. Even better than Ferrari's 11, 6, and 18. And I think exceeding everybody's expectations for him this game. So, very nicely played. Meanwhile, Black probably feeling that he needs a Satanic. If he can farm one up. Ice Ice Ice, the victim of June's hookshot once again. The BKB is going to be popped off. Doesn't have his Boots of Travel off cooldown and available, but looks like IG are going to let him go this time. At the Brute, we got the Zeus ultimate coming out. Just to get some scouting done, see who from IG was actually in the neighborhood to try and find that kill on the Brood. Meanwhile, FY and Fenrir teamed up at long last, going to make their way down bottom lane and keep things split pushed in. And Dazzle has actually picked himself up an Aghanim Scepter, so if he can find a good weave in these fights, then all of a sudden everybody becomes nigh unkillable to Sleight of Fist, and we're talking about 1 or 2 shots on everyone on IG, so we'll see what he can get done. It's not a very difficult ability to land if you look at the cast range. We're talking multiple screens here, so I think FY should be doing just fine. Super, meanwhile, continuing to rank up this Dagon, has actually reached his Dagon 5 as he pushes out the top lane somewhat. That does mean for IG that they know that anyone on bottom lane is sort of there by themselves, but they don't have a whole lot of vision to work with, so we won't be able to catch any of these lurking Vici heroes over by the Ancients. Burning and Chizbug actually going to be making their way top to try and find some sort of punish on this Zeus, but Super Spidey senses are tingling, and he's going to back off into the trees. Got Ice 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 actually working on what looks like a Diffusal Blade for now, trying to deal with, I think, largely this Ghost Scepter on the Necrophos. We may have multiple ghosts. Yeah, we've also got a ghost over on the Phoenix as well. Is there anything else that's really worth purging? Not really. Nothing super defensive. Heck, he could have gone for another Dagon if he wanted it, but looks like the Fusel Blade's going to be the choice. Meanwhile, IG will ready their push. They've got nobody out split pushing at the moment, and mid lane will continue to creep in as that lane's already been raxed. Vici Gaming's past victories coming back to haunt IG a little bit here as Black pokes his head up onto the high ground. Super. Also, just behind him, Ice perched on the lip, ready to engage if need be, but Vici gonna take this slow and steady. Once again, Super split off a little bit from the group, but if IG invests too much on him, then I think Vici are just gonna charge in from the opposite flank and make life very, very difficult. Luo's actually picked up his Aghanim Scepter at this stage as well, so we've got potential saves on the Ember Spirit or the Necrophos, whoever's getting jumped. Unfortunately, nothing too impressive to refresh this game. We're talking about pretty low cooldowns across the board for IG on their non-ultimates.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
And the siege will continue. Tier 1 tower top lane being pressured a little bit by some dire creeps, but with no hero there's not a relevant threat for Vici to be worried about. Luo looking for the swoop in from the side, gonna try and split up Vici as much as he can. Nice. Also doing what Super was doing earlier, just poking his head over to mid lane from time to time, reminding IG that there is another avenue into their base, and they do need to be split up, at least to deal with that. Probably a good time to take a look at our buyback status. Ferrari, yes. Necrophos, yes. And June, yes. So all three of the cores on IG, ready to throw everything that they have into this fight. The weave coming out, signaling that Vici might be looking for this engagement before too long. Already stacking up pretty high on both the Ember Spirit and the Ogre. Chizbug shows that he's not too afraid, comes out, drops some multicast onto Super, knocks him down below 50%, so gonna have to take some time for Dazzle to kick him back up, and that may be just long enough for them to get out of this weave. Ice actually with the panic BKB, just gonna shift over to top lane, and with that BKB on cooldown, June's gonna jump straight on in with the hookshot, and Ice left to try and fight his way out of this one, but I think no such luck. Burning drops the Reaper Scythe as Vici Gaming lose their Broodmother and try and prod down this tier 3 on bottom lane. We've got another hookshot already off cooldown for June. He's found the angle off to the side, and who can he grab? We're looking at the range right now. Does he have any sort of vision? Super has been isolated, gonna drop as many nukes as he possibly can. We've got an aggressive jump in from Luo, but it's straight into an Orchid. Does manage to drop his Ghost Scepter, but will still be brought down. Super doesn't need that grave, but still gonna stand strong and keep on throwing out bolts. June wasn't able to find that angle. Ferrari throws it a couple more side of fists, but he's gonna be jumping himself away, and June follows suit, ready to hookshot back to Burning. IG chase a bit too far outside of the base, and do end up losing both of their supports there. Luo has just been... he's been a little bit off this game. In fairness, it's a very difficult game. There's multiple orchids being focused on him. There's plenty of ways for people to just... people can just BKB up and hit the egg, but... yeah, they really need to get some more value out of this supernova. Black, meanwhile, casual 5k gold up for him. Has actually managed to topple Ice on the net worth, though in fairness, Ice has been sitting there dead for almost 100 seconds, so yeah, Black definitely getting ahead a little bit because of that. We've already got Broodmother webs encroaching into dire territory. As we can see, Vici's slow march towards some further tier 3s. Looks like Super... I don't actually know what this is going to be. I guess just a refresher orb for him. Meanwhile, FY has snagged himself a Blink, so ready to be looking for these Blink Orchid combos. We got a Daedalus for Ferrari, so he's going to have his fingers crossed, hoping for some good RNG on both the cleave angles and the crits, as we have additional team fights coming up. And Fenrir sauntering over towards the secret shop, but there's nothing on his shopping list today. I think he's going to walk straight on by and continue farming up, maybe for a Hex, honestly. It's going to take him a little while, but Vici aren't really being too successful in breaking the base. As I say that, the game could end in like 20 seconds if Vici find enough pickoffs. And I was talking about a refresher orb for Super, but it's actually the refresher orb for Black. He wants the double BKB, he wants the double Abyssal Blade, and Personally, I'm not opposed to this pickup at all. Fenrir gonna go for the stomp on top lane. Ferrari with the beautiful dodge, using the sleight of fist. No TP on the Elder Titans, so ends up being punished there. And Black just doing his best not to give away the item pickup right now. Does poke his head forward a little bit, so IG may know now. And there is a ward waiting up here on the high ground as well, so looks like the jig is up, but yeah, I was thinking Satanic just to help deal with the blade mail and, you know, all of the nukes coming out, but double BKB works just fine as well. Age is going to be passed over to Super. There's a cheese waiting. June has actually hooked himself up onto the high ground, does manage to force staff down to the low ground. Black pops the BKB, not going to fear the blade mail this time around. We've got some nukes coming out of the Zeus. One easy kill secured, and Black looking for more. Chizbug trying to find his escape route. And it looks like Vici actually just going to let him go for the time being. Going to try and use this Aegis as soon as the Elder Titan is back up and running. And that Clockwork pickup is actually a pretty big deal. He's the initiation for IG. Does have buyback, so he's ready to go if things get too messy, but Ember Spirit's not back just yet, and that's going to force the buyback as Vici make their way up onto the high ground. Black doesn't have his BKB off cooldown, doesn't want to pop the refresher to use it, needs to be careful. There is a Grave at the ready. The multicast drops him low, the Grave comes out, there's the Reaper Scythe, ends up being blocked. Blink away from Black, gets the heal out of FY, but June jams the hook shot and finishes him off. 90 seconds dead for the Phantom Assassin. Meanwhile, Ice playing the rat game, makes his way top lane, brings down the ranged barracks. Ferrari cleans up the Spiderlings just as quickly, but the damage has already been done, and Ice will triumphantly return back to the dire jungle and grab himself a few more celebratory creeps. Meanwhile, Super, that's the refresher orb making its way out, so we've got double ult, double Dagon coming up in just a moment's time. Ferrari hasn't grabbed any items just yet, but it is starting to get a little bit desperate. Does end up grabbing the Demon Edge. Monkey King Bar is still very important to have against the Phantom Assassin, so we'll see what he ends up going for. I don't know if we're at Rapier Desperation stage just yet. That does push him just below having buyback, but he knows that he's got at least 40 seconds. Black's not too interested in doing anything. June with the beautiful hook shot in, gets the jump, but Ice this time around, BKB, Boots of Travel, has the escape. He's going to be able to get out of there. Meanwhile, we've got a Hex picked up for burning. So initiation potential continues to grow as Ice continues to morph from a spider into a rat. Picks up his Necro too. And at this stage, it looks like IG just want to find a pick-off to stop Vici from sieging. If they let Vici get into position again and siege both bottom and top lane at the same time, they're probably going to lose, at the very least, a ranged drag. So they're going to jump in here on Super. He's got the Aegis, but he's isolated from his team. We've got the Elder Titan running over to see if he can get anything done. The Spirit's coming through. Going to go for that stomp. Not going to catch anyone. Super. There's the multicast. He just wants to drop as much damage as he can, but Luo gets heals up into the air. Looks like he's going to be okay. FY also isolated over in the trees. No TP. Blink Dagger. Unable. Well, not available there, but Ice still bailing his team out. Picks up another lane of Rax on top lane and has a chuckle at IG finding these pickoffs. Oh, but it's June once again finding these hooks. Where's the rest of the team? Ice. Easy BKB TP. Laughing straight to the bank. So it looks like for IG it's the death of 1,000 cuts right now. Black is back up and running, so looks like it's back to farm stations for him. Radiant Vision a little bit lacking after all of these skirmishes, which does explain to some extent why they've been caught out so much on the dire side of the map. Looking at who has gems, it's actually just June wandering around with one at the moment. I think the other Vici gem is still back in the dire base, and Vici choosing not to grab one for the time being, despite it being back in stock. So it looks like it's full rat mode for them. We've even got Fenrir picking up some Boots of Travel, so no Hex, actually just a plate mail up next for him. Burning snags another lasted on a tier 1. Not 100% sure what the next item's going to be for him. Refresher Orb is still really, really good, so... Could end up with our third refresher for the game. Ice, ice, ice. Deep behind enemy lines. Looking to get some more pressure down on this ranged Drax if he can find it. Just wants one of those lanes to get pushed on in. Black with the 1800 crits, clearing things out as Ice, ice, ice scurries towards mid lane. Where is June at the moment? So he's all the way back at the fountain. Has just picked himself up a Sanj, so probably Heaven's Halberd coming up before too long. Still yet to see any value out of this refresher orb, unfortunately, for Black. And you wonder if maybe he hadn't grabbed the refresher and had just had the Aegis in this slot. If they might have been able to do a little bit more on that bottom fight. I mean, he just got blown up from full to nothing right here. And then it was full panic stations for Vici to try and get out. BKB for Ice Ice Ice, of course, only down to 5 seconds at the moment. Smoke count, still actually 2 in stock for IG. Probably a couple in stock as well. Yeah, all 3 smokes in stock for Vici Gaming at this stage. I don't think they're going to be finding any pickoffs, but as I say that, it is IG choosing to move outside of the base. Going to try and defend this bottom lane of Rax as best they can. Ice 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 is mid, the rest of Vici are bot. And leading the charge is actually Chizbug. He's got the gem in hand. Ferrari and June splitting off as a gank squad off to the side. Black comes in, he gets immediately hexed. Where is the grave? They needed to come out right now. It blocks the Reaper scythe. Beautifully done there, but Black doesn't have any way to heal up. Looks like he might be brought down. In comes Ferrari from the side, swoops in with the side of fist, kills off one. Fender and isolated by the cogs a little bit further down. FY looking at this fight, doing what he can. Meanwhile, inside the base, it's Ice 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 going for the racks. Burning gets his TP cancelled. FY fighting this out to the bitter end. June doesn't actually have a TP scroll available, and Ice 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 going straight man mode onto these racks. The glyph has been used. He's got his BKB, but looks like he's going to be chopped down by Ferrari and Chizbug. The melee barrack stands, but Vici Gaming one step closer to closing out this game. It is a 5-man wipe, however, as June and Burning do still manage to find FY at the end of the day and put an end to him. Meanwhile, Super Creep swarming into the IG base. Chizbug valiantly defending as best he can, and we will have the rapier from Ferrari so that the base defense can begin, and IG can... I don't know what they can do at this stage. They can win some more fights and hopefully push some more towers. It is definitely the plan for them right now. Meanwhile, for Vici, just the one buyback actually over on Black. He has not been having the best time in this game. Yet to see any real value whatsoever out of this refresher, but June's gonna head up this push down middle lane. Burning gonna go and handle top, get that one pushed out as far as they possibly can. Luo TPing as far in as he possibly can to join the team. As Ferrari saunters forward with this rapier. Nobody alive for a couple of seconds on Vici, so no fear from him right now. There is a glyph at the ready. Black going to be up in a couple of seconds. We've got the Boots of Travel coming in from Burning right under the tower, so Vici Gaming know that he doesn't have an escape here and doesn't have a way to get back to bottom lane. IG have all their lanes in a pretty good spot, and now it's all about this next team fight. The glyph was used, so IG going to begin the siege. Burning, eating some crit daggers. The Dazzle Weave's going to be out in a few seconds, and the Elder Titan looking for the stomp. He's got a ton of move speed, but won't be able to find anyone. So IG, after all of that, they only managed to get the tier 2 Ice 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 back in rat positions. Boots are traveling down to bot. If they can find him here, that could be a huge opportunity. He's getting pinged. June has the handle on what he's up to, but can they find him? Ice 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 gonna nuzzle himself a little bit deeper into these trees. More webs being popped down as he continues to try and retreat out, but IG are not giving him much room to work with right now.
And it's off.
Illusion. Double damage.
And Ice is just hoping that this top lane pushes in far enough for the creep wave to disable backdoor protection so that he can go and end this game. Well, not end it, but go get mega creeps at the very least. Super trying to keep things distracted. FY coming across. They found June. Not the ideal target. Black with a double damage. June jumps in on top of Burning. He dispels it with his BKB. Drops the double Abyssal Blade, keeping Burning locked in position. Out goes the Dagon. Everyone on IG already thinking one step ahead, trying to intercept Ice 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 as he goes for this melee barracks. It's healed back up to full, burning with the buyback. Black has already used everything he's got aside from the the second BKB. And what can Vici do here? They've actually managed to catch out Luo in the trees. Silenced up, stomped down. Does he have a buyback? He does not. No Supernova for this fight. No Phoenix for 70 seconds. And that could actually be the difference maker. Ferrari now praying to RNGesus for some big crits. But it's actually Vici Gaming just gonna back off, take a moment to compose themselves, maybe grab Roshan. I don't know who they put it on. I guess Super still has slots available. Black can maybe put his refresher orb on the courier for a little while, so still plenty of options remaining for them here, and well, all IG can really do is watch helplessly from the dire base as creep waves continue to push in one after the other. Yeah, Roshan's already gone. So Aegis on Cheese chilling out in the pit. FY looks like he's farming up for a Lincoln's or a Hex right now, but it's only one lane of racks between Vici, well, only one barracks between Vici Gaming and a potential win at this stage. And I'm just gonna leave it on buyback status, screw it. So there's no point in Ferrari having buyback, but he will actually have it up in 20 gold. Black still just waiting around for that refresher. Fenrir still just chilling with that plate mail. Stomp comes out, does catch burning. Dazzle getting caught out on the middle lane. June jumps in with the hook shot. There is going to be a Yules. I don't think he's going to get into the grave, so dominating streak and a pick off. Vici Gaming stalled once again, and I don't know if they can afford to spend 90 seconds without getting value out of this Aegis. They've got some good ward coverage, keeping full control over IG and forcing them back into their base.
My veiled sisters.
But what's the play here for IG? Okay, maybe Burning is answering that question for me. Smoke's picked up. I don't know how far they can get these lanes out, but they can definitely look for pickoffs with the double fire blast and this Reapers. So there you go. There's the smoke. They're just looking for anyone that they can find. Black split up from his team on the middle lane right now. Actually, everyone on Vici just scattered around the place. Zeus all the way down by the ward spot. Ice 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 a little bit more aggressively positioned. The smoke gets revealed. They should know what's going on here. They get the Shiva's Vision over into the trees. There's the Hex. Burning has found Ice Ice Ice. Can he get the BKB and his ultimate off? No. Reapers comes in. Broodmother cleaned up for 125 seconds. No buyback available. Is this the opportunity for IG? We'll have to find out. June starts furiously clearing out these creeps on mid. Black has picked up his Satanic, so a little bit more durable now. Some pings coming out from Vici, hoping to try and find a pickoff on Ferrari, but there's actually, I don't know how they got in here to place this ward. I guess this ward was placed somewhere before Luo got picked off to the side here, but turns out to be pretty valuable. Gives Ferrari the information that he needs, that Vici might be trying to pick him off to the side. So no Broodmother for 80 seconds. Burning leading the charge down the middle lane. Only 20 seconds to go on his Reaper side. We've got Ferrari pushing out bot, but he does have Boots of Travel ready to join his team. So the only thing that's a little bit stressful is top lane right now, but they jump straight in. They've actually caught two with the hook shot. FY immediately, I said to Black, going to work. Dropping the Abyssal Blades, dropping the BKBs, manages to blow up Luo. A ninth Earth Splitter comes out, Burning, finished off by the Super Ultimate. Black now jumps in aggressively, Manta style pop defensively from Ferrari. The Yule's up on Chizbug. Black not done just yet. The multicasts come out, keeping him locked down. Chizbug with the 4-step up onto the high ground. Is there going to be a bash here? The Dagon is enough. They get the vision off of the Spirit. There's the double kill, and what was looking like a great initiation from June gets completely turned around by the double BKB from Black. And is that it? No buyback on the Necro. Still no Dazzle for 60 seconds. Still no Broodmother for 25. You can see Black just wants the GG right now, but I don't know if he can get it. June's got to go back and heal up. Ferrari's still doing his best to manage these lanes. Unfortunately, he's kind of the groundskeeper for the team at the moment. And Fenrir speeding out of the base as quickly as he possibly can. Actually 500 move speed with that Spirit on. Vici pushing up into the base. Dagon comes out. It's only an illusion. Ferrari, fast fingers, getting back there. Black now isolated once again by June. They get the sleight of fist out. Can he live through this? He's popped the Satanic. Needs to get the Blink Strike in for some health. Chizbug, still fairly tanky. There's no weave, and there's still no dazzle. Ice playing the objective, goes straight in, but the glyph gets popped off. June trying to shepherd him away from these racks. He's already used his Heaven's Halberd. Super's being brought down off to the side, but we're going to keep an eye on the Mega Creeps right now. Ice pops the BKB. He wants it. He gets it. And now it's just up to Vici Gaming to get out of here and let those Mega Creep waves start coming in. Super dropping damage from the sideline. Does get blown up by Ferrari with the sleight of fist coming out. Ice hiding on the side. We've got multicasts galore on Black as he gets finished off. June continues to jam hook shots. And Luo with the aggressive dive through, looking for this kill on Ice. Super back to the world of, actually back to pretty good HP. Not sure quite how he did that, but Fenrir also blown up. Triple kill for Ferrari. The Divine Rapier doing work, but the Ancient exposed. Boots of Travel coming in from June just to keep this defended. Shiva's out from burning. All the while, FY just chilling outside the base, keeping an eye on things. Weave could actually be huge here. I don't know how many heroes on IG can actually tank Mega Creeps with a fully stacked Weave. And, oh, Vici just gonna have to chill, wait for respawns, and come back out. What a ratty game. It was looking like Vici, I mean, the graph tells the story. It looks like Vici where they crushed the laning stage, things started to fall apart a little bit, they took some more good team fights, stuff started to go wrong around the Roshan pit, and this fight over here, and Super got caught over here, and things started to even out, and then all of a sudden, they just keep ratting and keep kind of closing out the game that way. But IG, they're hungry. Two heroes pushing straight down middle lane. Ferrari down on bot. Double Rapier equipped for him. FY just going to do his best to get this top lane pushed in. He doesn't actually have a teleport scroll available. He actually needs to go all the way back to the fountain to try and stash this one and do anything. And is this actually going to come down to a potential base race? Tier 4 tower dropping pretty quickly. The tier 2s are still up in both of the other lanes, so IG, they just have to go for broke right now. FY is coming in from the top side. We've got boots, we've got teleport scrolls coming back from Chizbug. Throws up the multicast, doing as much as he possibly can. FY just wants to force heroes back right now. The racks are down, and now IG sound the retreat. FY, he's popped off everything he's got. Blade Mail as well from June. Reaper Scythe gets dropped, no dazzle for 2 minutes now. As Burning finds another kill, but FY, he did his job. He made the space for his team to respawn and pressured everybody else on IG back. I think IG would have had to come back anyway because, again, there's a tier 2 here, there's a tier 2 here, so they can't go for multiple lanes, and tier 4s are probably a little bit overzealous, but do manage to pick up at least the one lane of racks for themselves. Meanwhile, do we have any item pickups anywhere? So FY is still working on, I'm guessing this is probably going to be a Lincoln's to try and block some more Reaper Scythes. Ice. Quite a bit of gold, but no item really on the horizon for him, and Vici content to let Mega Creeps do the work for now. Burning's only got 15 seconds remaining on this Reaper Scythe, showing exactly why it's so broken to have an ability that kills people for 2 minutes in the late game, but only has a 70-second cooldown. Meanwhile, nobody has any vision whatsoever. If we switch between Radiant and Dire Vision, it's just creeps and heroes right now. So they're all running blind, trying to find whatever pickoffs they can, and the game could completely come down to just totally random picks. A couple of Spiderites getting thrown towards the Ancient there. As Ice continues to go full rat mode. Super waiting in the trees. Ferrari very patient. Just gonna clean out that creep wave. Super comes in with the Dagon Ethereal Blade. He gets the combo off. He kills off Ferrari. Chizbug tries for the turnaround, but there's a stomp going out. TP comes in. There's the double kill. The God of Thunder dropping the damage. Picks up the 2 kills. Do we have buybacks for the Dire heroes? Nope. So I think Super has done it. Gonna eat himself a cheese. Get back up to health. I guess that's how he healed up over here, perhaps, as well. But it looks like Vici, this should in theory be their victory lap, but we've seen things go awry for them too many times this game for it to be easy to call. Super comes in with the Ethereal Blade, Burning marching forward. The Supernova comes out. Super just turning around, dropping as much damage as he can. There's the ultimate burning. Almost dead, but not quite. Looks like the Soul Burn's going to finish him off. June jumps in once more. Gets the Heaven's Halberd off onto Black, but BKB chopping through. Now using the Satanic. He's got a Blink Strike. The Force Staff Escape is not going to be enough. The Abyssal Blade gets dropped. Out comes the Refresher Orb. Looks like burning. Might be falling for the second time in just a second. There's a Blink Abyssal Blade ready, but they're just going straight for the throne. Yule's up into the air. June trying to fight this as hard as he possibly can, but the Mega Creeps are going to work. He's getting right click down. Burning still fighting with the Shivas. FY, just a value Shallow Grave and having a bit of a look at the Necrophos as the game does finally end. GG from Luo. GG from Super. And with that, Vici will finally secure themselves this game. And I think a, 5-1 overall record in Star Series so far. It feels like a very long time ago, but we talked about it during the draft. IG, they really needed this win to get the momentum going and potentially come top 4 in the group. I believe they're now 1-3, so while they still have 3 matches to play, I think they pretty much have to sweep at this stage to have a chance of coming top 4, or at least securing top 4 on their own volition, on their own merit, and not having to rely on tiebreaks or anything like that. So thank you for tuning in, guys. Don't go too far. We've probably got Vici versus LGD coming up in just a few minutes time because we had the delay and then this game took an hour and 10 minutes. So stick around. I'll be back with you in a couple of minutes for that one. Hope you've enjoyed the coverage so far. We've got 3 great best of ones still coming your way, so I'll see you soon.